Welcome to the Petite Palette Kitchen. I'm Christine Naylor.
And I'm Lisa Beals, and this is my son Dane.
We're here today to show you how to make an entire Thanksgiving meal for 8 people.
Under $100.
And we did it. We actually set this goal for ourselves and it worked out nicely.
And you can do it too, so just stay tuned. And in these financial times, and we know very well what the new budgets can be like, we're gonna make a wonderful Thanksgiving feast. Let's go start the turkey.
Sounds good.
All right, Dane, you gonna go play with your toys? No, you wanna stay with Mommy? Okay, so we're gonna start with our big, beautiful turkey. And I rinsed our turkey off in a cool running water just to kind of clean them. And then I patted them dry with a paper towel. I am going to take out the beautiful gizzards and this beautiful turkey neck, which actually can be saved and used towards your weekly stock. The chicken, you just put it in a big bowl, or you could put it in your fridge until you actually start cooking it. So I'm just gonna reserve it for now. I have a really cool tip to cook the turkey. You slip your fingers under the skin and you just separate the bird from his skin. And I'm sure he would not be very happy if he were alive right now. All right, I'm gonna slip him back over here. I'm gonna move him to the side for 1 second while I wash my hands.
And while you're doing that, I'm gonna start on the stuffing. Because we're on a budget, we're just gonna keep it simple. I've gotten my old classic turkey stuffing recipe out. It just involves bread, celery, onions, a couple of spices, some eggs, all done. So I'm gonna start browning my bread here. I have some Italian bread. And this is just to brown it, to make it nice and crusty and toasty, so that it can take on the stock and the rest of the vegetables when we put it in the oven.
And while she is frying up her bread, I'm gonna take some fresh herbs that we picked at the farmer's market, which is always a good thing to go to a farmer's market when you're getting your fresh vegetables and produce, and even with meats and eggs and poultry and all these wonderful things, because they're actually cheaper and the quality is better. Okay, so I have some parsley, some sage I'm getting right now, and some thyme. And this is gonna be part of a dressing that we're making to cover the turkey.
Well, my bread is browning. I'm going to move on to the squash leek soup. Just get a large stock pot and put about 2 tablespoons of butter on the bottom of it. And just put it on low. We're going to simmer the leeks first. I'm going to throw the butternut squash that we cut into cubes and some of our stock and let that simmer until everything's soft, and then I'll show you what to do next.
Christine gets those leeks going. I'm going to take a whole block, it's basically a ½ pound of butter. I'm using European butter, which I know I spent a little bit more on, but the quality of the ingredient is really, really worth it. This has more than 85% fat, but it's Thanksgiving, so you can indulge. It's okay. I'm adding the herbs, and this has been softened. The butter has been softened, so it can be mixed.
Oh, it looks pretty.
I have 2 cloves of garlic I'm gonna add in there. I'm gonna have a pinch of salt, fresh pepper, and a little pinch of some nutmeg and cinnamon. All right, we're gonna mix all this up. Just incorporate it well. You know, another thing you can do with this, if you have any left over, just make sure you don't touch any turkey with the leftover butter. You can divide this in half and refrigerate it. And if you're making noodles or pasta, you could take a little bit of this and use it actually as the dressing on the pasta. Herb butter. Homemade. Now I'm going to take Mr. Bird back and I'm going to rub him all over with the butter, and we're going to throw the butter under the skin and spread it down. And again, you can't be shy with this bird, you just got to dig right in. This is going to kind of self-baste it as it's cooking, and you don't have to keep going back in there with a turkey baster. Another comment that I forgot to tell you when I was preparing my turkey, this is already ready. This is already what's the word am I looking for? Trussed. Thank you. It's already been trussed. You can also use a piece of string and tie the legs together, keep it really easy.
All right. My leeks here are still simmering. I'm going to simmer them until they're nice and soft before I add the butternut squash and the stock. And it looks like over here my bread is almost done. Looking good here. I'm going to check on my stock. I'm warming up my stock. Now, I'd like to mention before I put in, when I'm going to add the butternut squash and the stock, I'm going to simmer it all until it's soft. This is also going to be a baby food for the baby at Thanksgiving. I'm going to take apart, before I add all of the really heavy seasoning at the end, I'm going to take some of the ingredients out and puree it. I'll show you how to do that at the end. It's really easy. It's always nice to have babies start with you at the Thanksgiving table instead of having, you know, their own meal completely separate. It's so nice to have ingredients that we're all having, because then it's really,
I remember we had I went to a friend's for Thanksgiving years ago, and I had to sit at a separate kids table. Yeah. And it was like a zoo. I didn't think it was fair. I wanted what the adults were eating. All right. We are going to get this bird ready to roast. We have a big roasting pan, and we have some winter root vegetables, and they consist of yams, parsnips, and potatoes. They're just on the bottom down here. And these are just plain old russet potatoes, nice and cheap. You can get them anywhere. But we bought all these at the farmer's market. So I'm going to take these, spread them on the bottom, and sprinkle them again with just a little bit of salt, a little bit of the spice. And this spice is 4 different spices. We have cardamom, and they're equal parts. So you can make a big batch of it and just keep it in your kitchen to use over and over and over again. So it's cardamom, cinnamon. We have nutmeg, and we also have a little bit of allspice. So it's really good. Pepper. And then where would I be without butter?
And no Flavorville. I'm just taking my browned croutons out as part of the stuffing.
And while she's still working on that, I'm just going to put some little knobs of butter across the winter root vegetables. Mr. Bird's going on top. Now, instead of a roasting pan that has its own trivet, we're just actually going to use the vegetables as its trivet. So it's holding the turkey off the bottom of the pan, so the underside will cook and all the juices will kind of fall down and form in the bottom of the pan, and they'll mix together with the winter root vegetables, and it's going to be delicious.
Delicious.
Okay. Now, we have a preheated oven, 350. This bird is about 11 pounds, and he's going to go for about 3.5 hours. But which we calculated is what, about 45 minutes a pound.
Between 30 and 40
but check
minutes a pound, yeah.
On your meat thermometer, you want it to be 165 when you take them out, and the where you check is right there in the meaty part, so it's not touching the bone. Because if it touches the bone, it's going to give you a false reading. It'll be hotter than it really is, and it won't be done in the middle. Another way to check it is to see how loose the legs are, and if the juices run clear, if you stab it a little bit.
I'm throwing in here, just so you know, celery and onion for my stuffing. Saute that until it's tender. And then I'm going to put it in with the breadcrumbs, the stock, and it's ready to go. My leeks look ready to go, so now I'm going to add my butternut squash to my leeks. I'm going to free the green and the orange. And then our homemade stock.
I mean, I've basically used my homemade stock, and I do make turkey stock, I make chicken stock.
Yeah.
And almost everything I cook, it is so good.
It's so good, and it's just, that's something that with the stock, if you can do it once a month. I usually do it once a month. Just have a big cook day with the stock. I usually do chicken stock, and you have it frozen for
so
all these
easy.
meals, and it's so easy, and it's just so much better when it's homemade.
I think so too, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Okay, I'm gonna put Birdie in the oven.
Birdie.
And he's heavy. All right, this is his little room for 3 hours. And make sure I know what time it is. Okay. We have the soup going, so we have the appetizer, the soup, and we have the main dish, which is our turkey, of course, because it's Thanksgiving. I'm actually going to start on the dessert because we have to get it cooking and then chilled by the time turkey comes out. So let me just clean up, and I'm going to start on our maple pasta cream.
And this, so this is the soup. I'm just going to bring it to a boil, and then once it's boiling, bring it down to a simmer. It should take about 40 minutes to cook, and then I'll take it off the heat, puree it, a part of it for the baby. I guess puree the whole thing.
Yeah.
Put it back.